One of the well-known supporters of Russian aggression, Maxim Kalashnikov, unexpectedly openly spoke about the real state of affairs in Donbass. According to him, since 2014, this region, having found itself under Russian occupation, has been turned into a ruined, poor and dangerous enclave. He made the confession in his video blog. Kalashnikov said that after the occupation, Russia essentially condemned the local population to years of suffering. The residents of Donbass and Lugansk were doomed to this 8-year terrible shelling, a slow-moving war, poverty, criminal domination, and so on, he said. He noted that the curator of the so-called L/DPR was the assistant to the Russian dictator Vladislav Surkov. It was under his control, according to Kalashnikov, that criminal clans operated in Donetsk and Lugansk, and dubious individuals occupied leadership positions. What kind of personnel were selected for Donetsk, for Lugansk, and what was happening there? What a redistribution there was! What crime! How factories were dismantled for scrap metal, eaten like locusts, the propagandist emphasized. The Z propagandist was especially upset by the fact that the lawlessness that was happening in the occupied Donbass was actively covered by the Ukrainian media, and Ukrainian propaganda shouted, "Look, this is the Russian world. This is with the faces of Plotnitsky, Zakharchenko," said a frustrated Kalashnikov. This admission is especially telling against the backdrop of ongoing Russian disinformation, which for years has claimed that it saved Donbass. In fact, even the Kremlin's ideological supporters admit that Moscow has brought only destruction, fear, and lawlessness to the region. Earlier, media reported that the occupiers officially acknowledged the problem with the water supply in Donbass. Chairman of the occupation government, Andrei Chertkov, made an address. Today, a critical situation is developing with the water supply of our region, and you can see this from the state of our reservoirs, the occupier reported. According to him, the water level in the Vernekamenskoye, Makeyevskoye, and Olkovskoye reservoirs has dropped to critical levels. The volumes that we have are not enough for industry, agriculture, and, first of all, for the residents of the Republic, Chertkov admitted. In connection with this, he reported the occupation administrations decided to change the water supply schedule. In Donetsk and Makeyevka, water will now be supplied only once every 3 days. In Kadzhisk, Ilovaisk, and Zugrez, once every 2 days. In some areas where water does not reach at all, they promise to deliver it by tanker trucks. This is a forced measure that will allow us to use the resource more rationally. We will try to get through this heat and make a reserve for heating for the winter, explained a representative of the occupation administration, adding that there is no way out.
The Ukrainian Defense Forces struck a Russian S-300P anti-aircraft missile system in the Belgorod region. The Nebo-M radar system was also hit. Both complexes were hit by HIMARS multiple rocket launcher fire. This was reported by Ukrainian media with reference to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. On July 20th, the Ukrainian Defense Forces carried out a number of successful strikes against the enemy in various locations, continuing to focus efforts on weakening the military potential of the Russian Federation, the statement said. As reported by the General Staff, long-range fire weapons successfully destroyed the Russian S-300P air defense system in the Belgorod region, which significantly reduced the coverage area of Russian long-range air defense weapons in the region. In the same area, our troops also struck the Nebo-M radar complex, which critically affected its functionality and simultaneously reduced the operational capabilities of the neighboring 5N66M Big Bird radar station. Such coordinated strikes significantly weaken the Russian air defense system, reducing the enemy's ability to cover its troops and infrastructure and facilitate the conduct of operations by Ukrainian units, the General Staff noted. They also emphasize that weakening these systems directly supports Ukrainian efforts aimed at reducing Russia's ability to wage aggressive war and attack the civilian population and civilian infrastructure of our state. Moreover, such strikes directly undermine Russia's ability to project force, provide cover for its troops, and support its illegal occupation of Ukrainian territory. The defense forces will continue to conduct operations to undermine the enemy's critical systems that support the functioning of the Russian military machine, the General Staff noted. Soldiers of the invading Russian army have launched another attack in the direction of the village of Mala Tokmachka in Zaporizhia region. The invaders, advancing with armored combat vehicles, were halted by Ukrainian troops using artillery and drone strikes. As seen in footage shot by drone and circulated on Telegram channels, some of the vehicles were destroyed. Soldiers in the vehicles that remained and survived fled in an attempt to escape. A few of the remaining vehicles were forced to retreat. It should be noted that while the Russian side claims the village has been captured, the Ukrainian army has denied this information.